It's the giveaway. It's the giveaway. So first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for everybody for liking and subscribing and commenting on these videos, because that's ultimately what keeps this channel going. We're getting bigger and bigger and bigger as this company grows, and so we're gonna give away something even bigger this time. It's time to give away a PSC bow. All you guys have to do to win this thing is the same thing that you've been doing. Like and subscribe to our channel, like every video, and comment. And you can comment as many times as you want. And when we go through and we pick, the more comments that you have or the more likes that you have, along with being subscribed to this channel, only improves your odds of winning this bow. We're literally giving someone a free bow, okay? Just to like and subscribe this video. So if you guys are interested in free stuff, and you didn't win this bow this time around, you didn't win these Vortex binos, you're still entered. Just stay engaged with the channel, keep liking the videos, keep commenting on them, and it's gonna help you win maybe trail cameras in the future, tree stands, things like that. Greetings, people. We are back. We are back again with another public land pick apart. If you guys are unfamiliar with the public land pick apart, this is where I give you the answers, okay? Let's say you're going on an out-of-state trip. Let's say you want to try and hunt a new state, but you really don't know. Maybe you're from the flatlands. You never hunted topography. Well, you're in luck. I'm going to give you the answers as to how you should be hunting certain pieces of topography, certain pieces of public land, why I would do what I would do, okay? Sometimes I'm kind of familiar with these spots, most times not at all. Today, you guys are lucky. I'm semi-familiar with the spot. It's in a place that I've lived for years. I've never hunted it. I will come out and say that, so it's not like I'm giving you my personal spots. And let's be honest, I would never do that anyway. But I do know that there's big deer in this area, okay? I also know about this area that there are certain times of the year in which you can and can't hunt it. So you got to look into your regulations and see what time, you know, you have to have a special tag or whatever to hunt this area. But let's go back for a second. Let's step back. The state that I'm talking about today is Kentucky. Now, let's take another even farther step back. For those of you who are unfamiliar with hunting Kentucky, some of you are going to love it, some of you are going to hate it. There's a reason that some people stay out of Kentucky. There's a couple reasons, I'll be honest with you. One, the heat. I've hunted in as hot as 97 degrees in Kentucky. It can get hot. It can be hot in October. It can be 87 degrees in November. I've hunted it. A lot of guys don't want to do that. Don't blame them one bit. Another reason that people don't like to hunt Kentucky, the bugs. The chiggers, the ticks will annihilate you. You might pick off 50 ticks and the chiggers might get you to the bone. Another thing you don't want to worry about. Basically, like if you're unfamiliar with chiggers, it's like having chicken pox all over again. Oh, and they're snakes. So for you snake lovers, keep that in mind in Kentucky if you're going to go there. But we have picked a piece of public land in Kentucky, and we have picked the Higginson-Henry Wildlife Management Area. Now, I'm familiar with this area to the point where I at least know where it is. I've driven past it, never really spent a ton of time there, never hunted it. So, with that being said, I'm going to pick apart the Higginson-Henry Wildlife Area. So as a whole, I'm looking at this map, I see some big holes in the middle that most people would say, okay, there's not a lot of roads, not a lot of access going to it. That's where I'm gonna go. And I always try to take it a step farther, because most guys would go to those places and I would think, okay, so what little corners are they not going to? And I like to pick the corners sometimes. There's some place that, you know, the common sense would tell you, oh, you can't get there on a southwest, northwest wind, which are your most likely winds. But today we're gonna go down in the corner, okay? Let's start down in this little right-hand corner here. All the main roads kind of go past it. Everybody, as soon as they hit the public land, nobody probably stops in the first corner and goes in. That's the way I'm thinking about it. So let's see what we're dealing with here as far as topography goes. Okay, guys, we got a nice bottom. We got a nice bottom that comes off the road here. And a lot of times, depending on how steep those bottoms are, deer don't necessarily like to jump right across the bottom. They like to come around the top. Okay, it's just easier access. Deer would rather stay on the same topography line if at all possible. They're lazy. They're like a lot of humans in the fact that they don't want to have to go up and down steep topography. They don't have to. So a lot of times when you have these bottoms, what they'll do is they'll go all the way around them, and that's where your main trail system will be. Yes, there will be trails through the bottom, cutting across occasionally, especially if it's not overly deep, but this bottom in general, I would think they would probably go around for the most part. And there are fingers that come out of it. So what I would do is I would probably set up on some of these fingers, okay? And as I look here, I see pinch points, okay? Pinch points can mean a lot of things. It can be strictly topography. It can be two fields, kind of pinching down and having a little ditch in between. I mean, there's a million different ways you can create pinch points. What I see here is a topographical feature, a bottom that most likely flows deer around the top of it. And I see a little field here. I don't know what this field is. It's super close off the road too. So, I mean, as far as access goes, once again, probably overlooked, maybe 100, 200 yards off the road. On a straight west wind, this might be a dynamite spot where you can sit on the edge of this field and deer might come cruising around the edge here. So I definitely like that. A lot of these hidden fields in general, I actually like, most likely have a lot of good buck sign on them. But keep in mind, probably not a lot of good daylight sign. A lot of that sign is probably made in the evenings or at night for the most part, especially out in the middle of the wide open. Let's face it, these deer are used to getting pressured on fields after a certain point. So I wouldn't expect them to be making a ton of sign there in daylight. But I do like that spot as a whole, just because that super big bottom is probably going to steer some deer up and around the top of it. Anytime I see a draw or anything like that, guys coming out of a bottom up into a ridge point, or these bottoms when they start flaring out into the upper portions of the ridge, I like those a lot. Okay, let's start scrolling through some more of this. Let's see here. We got some more hidden fields here on the back side. Once again, a lot of guys probably think, you know, let's hunt those fields. They're probably coming in from the bottom on a northerly wind, northwest wind. Let's see what we got here. Once again, another super steep draw. There's a lot of topography here. You can see it. And if you think you're going to go here and just have a nice little jaunt in the park, you're probably not, guys, because there's a lot of topography, a lot of hills. So there's a couple things that are catching my eyes here, catching my eye here. One, this super steep draw. Once again, these deer do not want to have to cross through these bottoms, and this one especially, because this is so much more steep than the one over on the other side. And for scouting purposes, if I were to go through here, I would probably take this draw all the way down to this power line. These power lines tend to grow up and get so nasty thick, especially in a place like Kentucky with such a warm growing season. Who knows what's on that power line? But for some reason, if deer are taking the topography lines, which they generally do, and we zoom in and we look at them, at some point they do change here and they go up to the north, and then they come back around to the south. At that point, up in here somewhere, it might be a little bit even farther up in here, I would expect there to be an intersecting trail, or not, maybe not an intersecting trail, but a trail. There's always, when I go to clients' properties, guys, if I see steep draws like this, there is always a trail over the top of those draws, because those draws are so steep. The deer don't want to go through them. Will they? Sure. But in majority, they will not. They will go up and around. So sitting at the top of this might be a great idea. Let's see what else we're dealing with here. More draws. I mean, you could sit on these spots for days on end. You could go from one draw to the next. There's another draw here. So many pinch points. Anytime you're in hill country and you see those draws, plan on deer crossing up and over the top of them. Let's see what else we're dealing with here. If you did want to hunt the fields, here's the thing. Nice thing about Kentucky is it does have a nice early opener. So let's say these fields were in soybeans. There's certain topographical features that are most likely to funnel these deer down into these fields. For the most part, I think I generally see deer entering fields in the lower spots, okay? So let's say there's like a big ridge system, but there's a draw that does feed into that field. A lot of times that draw is what's going to bring those deer into it. It's just going to funnel those deer in naturally again. So we talked a lot about draws in hill country. Hunting up and over the top of them, up in the hills, absolutely. But the bases of them also are probably going to have a lot of flooding movement, a lot of movement down in the bottom. So I think it might even be the same draw. I'd have to look. No, it's a different draw than we were talking about before. But anyway, this draw right here, this is all bottom ground, guys. If you're not familiar with reading topo lines, this is all bottom. And this bottom feeds down into this piece of timber. And if it just so happens that there's some cropland down in here, let's call it soybeans early season, and you get out there and you summer scout, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a ton of sign down in this draw, especially down in this little area that I'm circling right now. This little area right here is probably gonna have a lot of sign. A lot of deer are probably gonna go funnel up into these draws, go up these secondary draws, and maybe even bed up here. So depending on the conditions, depending on if you have a cold front, how warm is it, will dictate how aggressive you have to be. Obviously, if it's a warmer day, I want to get as close to the bed as I possibly can, especially if it's 97 degrees like I talked about, guys. The chances of the deer moving a ton are not great, but keep in mind we're in Kentucky and they do move in those temperatures. I've seen it. I've seen shooter bucks. I've seen shooter bucks in 87 degrees, 150-inch 5-year-old deer. I've seen it for myself. So keep in mind that they will move, but like I said, if you do feel the need to get closer, especially on those warmer days, probably a good idea. But let's say they do bed up in some of these secondary draws, funnel down into the main one. They're probably going to be intersecting someplace down in here. Now allow the obvious clues to tell you where you need to hunt accordingly, because obviously I'd probably pay more attention to beans. So if there's a bean field on one side of this draw versus the other, factor in your winds, things like that. But as a whole, guys, this piece, it's so steep. The main topographical feature that I'm looking for is the draws, whether it's hunting the bottoms of them or hunting the tops of them. I think in super steep terrain is where you're going to see a lot of your buck movement, especially during those rut hunts, or in this case, even super early season. You know, a lot of times you get someplace between a September 1st and September 7th opener in Kentucky. Hunting the bottom of that exact draw right there. If there's soybeans, let's face it, guys, if you go out there a couple days and you know bucks are funneling out right there, well, that's probably the spot to go. So as a whole, this place looks good. If you're not in shape, get in shape, because this place has a lot of topography. But as a whole, Higginson Henry definitely, I know, does produce big deer. Especially if you're a guy from a different state like Michigan who doesn't have overly high standards, or a Wisconsin guy or Minnesota, anybody like that. There's good deer here, but at the same time, like any place else, it's public land. A lot of guys are going to be out here, but as a whole, pay attention in that super steep topography to the draws, the tops, and the bottoms, because there will always be intersecting trails there. So that's Higginson Henry, wildlife management area in Kentucky, guys. There's your public land pick apart for Kentucky.